市大宫强度有限。
拍那个大字。那我们现在拍他会不会剪吗？
快一点！
停下来了，上面手套都停了啊！这个上面手套开了吧？啊，这边开了，他们赶过来了，赶快上，赶快上！哎，你早上有没有去云谷排队啊？排队了，工作了。啊，就是这个，就这个。然后当时你什么都没有这样。
就是这样子的，不是越来越还好，然后现在越来越尴尬。啊！
好，这是下雨了。完了，没有带进。
那应该几个钟头？
阿拉卡斯，
好的，给了。
我们在中间给它切断了。
让它掉下去死无全尸。
大风强度由天气影响，目前云谷索道、玉屏索道临时停运，北大门索道暂时正。
days drifting far away. Light is leaving town. Colors fade, but I'm thinking we stay just for a little while. Let's lose track of time. Darling, stay for a little longer while your time will wait. So just rest your head upon my shoulder. Nothing away. It's colder, but the day's not over yet. Summer nights, watch them go by as we fight off the cold. Holding you tight, you know just what I'm thinking. I don't want this moment to go. No, I don't want this moment to go. Let's lose track of time. Darling, stay for a little longer while your time will wait. So just rest your head upon my shoulder. Nothing in our way. It's colder, but the day's not over yet. Didn't think it'd go this fast. Goodbye to this house we thought would always last. And this is where Dad's garden grows. Summer haze, my reading place, and late night tiptoes. And I know the memories are with me, even when you move to a town that is new. Yes, I tend to hold on too strong, but you're always home. You're always home to me. Those gray steel wooden stairs. Me and Jess play pretend with time traveling. Company around the table. Seat by the windows where I learned.
造好好，造
And I'm scared. Things chase you quickly. The time is wrong. So loud in my heart. And I know I'm not alone. You're always home. You're always home to me.
人后的身份证和运行手续，没有携带身份证的游客，请检查好并且身份证全部合格。已经4次提醒。
应该吧？那是有的，那个。
这里坐一块儿。